Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pointy Not Sharp. Today I thought I'd discuss what's happening with eBay in Queensland and why they have limited Queenslanders' ability to buy bayonets, which must be really annoying for collectors up there. So for those of you who don't know, Queensland is a state here in Australia on the northeast coast. It's one of our most populous states, and like a lot of our states, it has a big problem at the moment with youth crime. Youth crime is rampant in Queensland, Northern Territory, and let's be honest, pretty much the entire country. What it's a result of is widely contested, whether it's weak courts, weak bail laws, weak parenting, social media making crime cool. Who knows? You can point the finger whichever way you want. A lot of the news are pointing it towards lack of education and community programs and things like that, which very well could be. I don't know. But we do have a large youth crime problem. So in response to this, Queensland have instituted the Making Queensland Safer Act 2024. That came into effect on the 1st of September 2024, and that saw a number of restrictions imposed on people who want to buy bayonets and knives within Queensland. It's not targeted at bayonet collectors or bayonet owners, but it is something that does affect us in one way or another. That legislation brought in a number of changes for knives. Essentially, if you're selling them, you can't sell to people under the age of 18. Fantastic. Let's be honest, most of the crime used with knives, by kids, it's going to be kitchen knives or cheap $2, $3 knives on Temu or eBay or something like that. Whatever they can get their hands on. They're kids, they probably don't have a lot of money. So limiting their ability to buy those cheap knives online sort of limits them to kitchen knives and what they do have access to, and does limit them a little bit. And let's be honest, kitchen knives aren't as cool as like a cool little folding knife that you get from online, so it does make it a bit harder for them to do their stuff. Some other things, sellers also have to have secure storage of certain items. I couldn't find a definition of certain items, but I assume it's going to be blades or knives or things like that, so they're going to be locked away so if they get broken into, kids can't take them. They can't advertise knives as being suitable for combat, which, yeah, I get it. But then there are knives that are made for combat. When I lived up in Queensland, I was in the army and I used to go to all the military shops all the time, buy pouches for my webbing and Garmin GPSs and all that kind of stuff. And they've always got, Gerber knives for sale, Gerber combat knives and things like that. And if you can't advertise a combat knife as being suitable for combat, it seems a bit silly. I guess you could make it sound like a field or a utility knife now, but the guys can read between the lines a little bit, I guess. It makes sense. But anyway, this legislation was, as Queensland Police put it, designed to reduce the accessibility of certain items to young people, disrupt and deter violent offences while enhancing community safety. So that's their spiel. Now, the fact that you can't sell knives to under 18s, great. It does mean that when you're buying them online, now you have to prove ID or prove your age. And for most places, that's a minor inconvenience. Flick them an email with your driver license or something like that, and then, get your knife. Fantastic. But some of the bigger online platforms, particularly eBay, they don't really have a way to do that. They could get you to verify your account with a driver's license and prove your age and all that kind of good stuff, and then you're able to buy knives. But I guess they don't want to be liable for anyone misusing that or using someone else's ID or whatever. So they found it easier just to blanket ban bayonets and knives purchases in Queensland. So while in the rest of Australia you can still buy bayonets on eBay, and in Queensland you can still see them for sale on eBay, you can't buy them, you can't bid on them. So that's, a bit crap for the guys up there. It's a little bit of a blanket ban, and I'm regularly seeing guys commenting on the groups when they've tried to bid on a bayonet and it's just come up with a notice saying this item is not available in your location or something like that. It's obviously very frustrating for them. Now, I've actually tried to make a register of how much bayonet crime there has been in Australia, and from what I can tell, not too much. There was a murder years and years ago. There was a plot by a couple of Islamic jihadi radicalised kids maybe 20 years ago, but they were using knockoff Chinese M9 bayonets, and they weren't going to use them as bayonets, they were just going to use them as cool knives. Other than that, bayonet crime doesn't really happen. You don't see too many kids running around with a $500 antique bayonet. Not their style, not their jam. So it's a little bit annoying that these kids, the way we can target their offending and sort of try to make our space a little bit safer, it does kind of limit the rest of us, which it sucks a bit. But for those of you living in Queensland, there are a couple of ways to sort of get around this and still be able to buy the bayonets that you want. So if you are over the age of 18, guys, you can always contact the seller directly. Many of them have websites outside of eBay, and many of them are also happy to do sales outside of eBay because it saves them eBay fees. And you could probably buy it that way, just paying through PayPal or something, find some way to make your sales safe. And if you have friends interstate, get them to buy it for you and then post it to you. So I've got a friend up in Townsville, and I've bought one or two for him, and he's been unable to buy them himself. I've had them shipped to my address in New South Wales. I know he's over the age of 18. We're not committing an offence, and then I've posted it on to him. So that's another way to get around it. But for those collectors up in Queensland, this is certainly very, very annoying. I completely sympathise with them. Anyway, that's all I've really got to say about what's going on in Queensland with this. Hopefully there's a simple workaround, like eBay institutes a way to verify your age in an account or something like that. I've seen a few people have tried to get around it by not using the word knife or bayonet in the description, which is a little bit dishonest and goes against the eBay terms and conditions, so I probably wouldn't do that. But yeah, well, that's all I've got to say about the matter, guys. If you've got anything you'd like to add, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.